Hey, how James Clem, Monday. How have you started your week so far?
Well, I had an interesting morning because, I'm still working on getting this paycheck protection plan,
Yeah.
and it's been a real hassle because the bank said they contacted me. I searched every aspect of contact and I couldn't find it there. So who knows? And I found a banker who's working with me, and then I heard this morning I'm supposed to sign the loan document. I couldn't find a track to it. So,
Oh no.
here's the blessing of it. Find people who understand it. My banker went to bat for me, and then my computer guy went to bat for me, and he found the transaction right before I was coming on. It's just one
Oh.
of those things. It's everything together, and it reminds me of dental school a little bit. My senior year, where you're getting ready to graduate and you have to get all your cases in, and you're getting ready for boards. And back then I had a little more adrenaline than I do now.
Yeah.
But these are the things that define you. It reminds me of the fires too. I've mentioned that before, but I'm just at a happy place right now because people help me out, and I think I can't overemphasize that. Be around people who compliment you, who can help you out when things aren't working. So I had two people helping me out this morning, and I'm very, very grateful.
Well, let me tell the viewers kind of why we got late, because I was watching you as we were trying to get everything together, and James was
That's
literally
right.
on his phone talking to the banker, talking to his computer guy on the phone as we got delayed.
Yeah.
And they were helping you out, man. They were doing everything they could, and they got you squared away, and you're getting your money. Isn't that great?
And our audience and our guest is helping me out. You're helping me out by being patient. I mean, you're so calm, cool, and collected. Is that a Texan thing?
Pretty much. It's close enough. So,
But thank you.
yeah, no, we great day today, and
Yeah.
I'm starting my week a little bit differently in Texas. We're able to start practicing today, but my mindset was that we were starting in another week. So I had all these kind of like honeydews at the office to get done. My training room is like a train wreck, and so I've spent all day just cleaning it up. So I chose not to work today, just so I could get caught up.
Sure.
Here I've had 6 weeks off, and I'm waiting till the last minute to get things done. So anyway,
Well,
I'm stressed in
we've been
that
doing
regard.
other things, haven't we?
We've been doing other things for sure, and
Yeah.
it's good, and I think you and I have had a blast doing these shows, and
We have.
we
Thank you.
definitely, yeah, we appreciate all the comments and the participation because, we're trying to make this community smaller, even though, well, we're trying to make our community, our small community, come together a little bit more, and
Right.
I think we're achieving that. And even Frank Acosta is watching us. Man, I think we got like one viewer out there. That's pretty
Hey,
good.
Frank.
Frankie, good to see
Frankie,
him.
love you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So James, I know you're a little stressed out, but you're looking good, my friend. Looking good. You ready to do
Okay.
some deep thoughts?
I'm coming off, that adrenaline helps. We need adrenaline to adapt both physically and emotionally. And, I just made a mindset to be happy, and, you can't control what you can't control, and people help me out. So I'm at a really good spot right now.
Oh, awesome. Well, you got a good quote for us today,
I
or am I
do.
putting you on the spot?
Well, no, it kind of comes into what we talked about yesterday. And what are the stepping stones for your success? I learned a new one this morning, and that's having good people around you. And I know our guest has a lot of things to add to that because I think he's definitely a good person to have around us. So why don't we just bring him on?
He is on. Sasha Der Avanessian. How you
There
doing,
you are.
brother? You doing all right?
Good. I am. Thank you for asking. Good to be here.
Oh,
Sa-
yeah.
Sasha, thanks for being patient for me today. I really appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure. No worries.
Yeah, so when we were looking at people to bring on the show, we were thinking, who are good leaders that can, inspire people, or are people that others look to for insight on what they should be doing, or even spiritually. And you were definitely high on the list, man. I see you everywhere. In fact, we had a good conversation about LinkedIn just a minute ago, and every time I come on LinkedIn, I got to read everything you put on, because what I love about you is that you put your imagery and your message together in a way that's captivating, whether you're with you've got a big family, you got like 5 kids, right?
Yeah, 4 kids. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 kids.
Yeah.
You got all these kids. You make a message out of it, and I'm going, man, that's pretty cool. So you're thank you for coming on.
It's a real honor, man. Trust me. Thank you.
So tell our audience just a little bit about what your business is about and what you're doing in this digital world.
Sure. Well, I'm the founder and CEO of Harvest Dental Products, and started the company in a 2-car garage in 2004. We are a manufacturer of premium dental laboratory materials. We basically focus in 4 categories: CAD/CAM materials, polymers primarily, high-end experience ceramic accessories, so brushes for stain and glaze, pallets that are machined out of blocks of aluminum, and we also specialize in packaging products, brand-centric packaging products for dentists and dental labs. And so, we're in 60 countries, fully distributed. Wow. A lot of our distributors: Henry Schein, Patterson, Ivoclar, Nowak Dental. And we love what we do. We love being in the smile business. My dad was a lab owner, and so I grew up in the lab, and my dream was to start the Mont Blanc of dental laboratory products. And that's what we do.
You are, what I love, other than your messages, the way you package your products, the innovations, that's the details that you put in your products. And James, I didn't tell you I was going to do this, so I'm going to do a little experiment here. I got to show you one little cool thing that you did, and it's like every time I pick up this brush, I gotta snap it. So let's see if I can do this here real quick. There we go. So these are his fusion brushes, and they have little magnetic connections to them. So when you put them back on, they just snap right into place. I mean, I'm not sure if that's totally functional or whatever, but man, every time I pick one up, I got to snap it and put it back together again. So.
It's just that fascination.
Life is about experience, right? And so we bake that into our development. It's no fun being in a box. And so for us, creativity is exciting. And we basically do 3 things when we develop a product. And this is the same, I think, for anybody. You look at what everybody else is doing, right? If everybody else's tips either screw on or attached, you identify where the market is stuck, and you create a function that's maybe a little bit more dynamic. And that's what we do.
So your products are distributed through distributors, or you do direct?
We sell through distributors.
Okay.
We sell through distributors. So yeah, our complete line again would be available through your local distributor.
Right, and because I know Remo in San Diego has been working with you a bit.
Yes,
and that's when I first got acquainted with you. In fact, quite a while back, because he has that website. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite, I'm going to say this, is my very favorite brush for refinement is your brush. It's that smallest one you make.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I like about it? It has enough weight where I feel like I have more control. It's just like when I'm a videographer as well, and if the camera's too light, you can't control your motion as much. Mm-hmm. And the thing I've noticed about your brushes is like they have presence to them. So they're in your hand, even on the very smallest ones. And it's my favorite brush. In fact, it's in a lot of my videos that I post on my online training. It's your brush I'm using.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. And again, that's, intention, intention is power, right? And so when you're intentional about something, anything, whether it's a service, right, that you're offering in your practice, mm-hmm. For us, like that handle in particular, I mean, we machined it out of aluminum and then we hollowed out the center. So it isn't too heavy, and you still feel the tip of the brush, but you also feel that weight. And again, experience, right? You just trying to find a delivery that is different.
Tell our audience more about your background. How did you come up with this intuitive mix, where you see a need and you know how to deliver it and communicate it? I think that's something we all could learn.
Sure.
More about.
So we basically have developed an operating system around our brand differentiation strategy, right? And it's how we execute, because we believe that execution, is the ultimate differentiator. And so it's basically three parts. The first is conventions, market conventions. These are kind of the unwritten rules of doing business, right? These are the mindsets that we all live with, the way that we do things based on our habitual nature. And we do things without even noticing that we do them. We think in certain tracks, and we think in ways that are unrecognizable because it's like snowblind, right? You just do them. And so what we do is we don't, when we look to develop a product, we don't look for mountains. We look for molehills. And what I mean by that is there are categories that are already established and already owned by a leader in the marketplace. What we do is we look for categories that are neglected, where you might have a market leader, but the category is neglected and conventional behavior rules the day. So like a stain brush, right? Nobody has ever really thought about innovating a stain in a glaze brush. Most of the people that we talk to would buy their glaze brushes from the art store.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so what we did is when we developed the glaze brush, we took our laboratory competencies. We consult with guys like Frank Acosta, guys like Neil Patel. We talk to them about, what is it that they're looking for in a brush? And what we did with that glaze brush that you have on your table there is, we created a chisel, and we call it a cat's lick. And so there's two lengths in that brush. Mm-hmm. There's the initial hair, the base hair, and then you've got these little whiskers that are coming up that are very, very thin. You can't even see them with the naked eye. And what that does is that creates like a cat's lick when you're applying it to the crown. And so, it's identifying where the market is stuck. It's taking the top 5 brushes on the market, lining them up and saying, okay, these are the same in this area. What can we disrupt? And then, so that's the first part. The second part is vision, right? And so, again, for us, vision is about attributes. It's about human attributes. What attribute do we want to manifest in this product? And so one of the big attributes for us is refreshing. This is an attribute that we've hung the hat of our brand on. And so we will try to create a little innovation. That's, again, it's not a big deal, right? Does it change the way that the brush glazes? No. But it's a refreshing take on a brush.
Mm-hmm. You're like right? The iPhone. You're like the Apple of dental products, man. Right? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's just it's fun, and for me, I don't want a job.
Right.
I don't want a job. Right. I want to create, because when you create, you generate and you receive energy, and energy feels good. Right. And so the third part of it is the disruption. It's the execution of it. It's actually then going into the R&D to develop a product that we believe, defines our trademark, which is no respect for the status quo.
Oh, wait, you got to say that again.
No respect for the status quo.
When you go to his website at Harvest Dental, Sasha, I'm going to throw up what this is. So here's a screenshot of his website, and just looking at it, that is super cool. It just has cool all over it, but it's not even dental related. And the very bottom, it says no respect for the status quo.
I love it.
Yeah. Now, where did that come from?
It's just, I think the box is again where the world lives, and I feel like all of us were created to not have a competitor. And how do I know that? Because I have a thumbprint.
That's right.
And that thumbprint is God's promise to me that I'm exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
so, no respect for the status quo is believing in that truth and acting on it. And so, we believe that while everybody is going straight, you were created to veer hard right.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything that we do, we look for a catalyst to bounce off of. And that catalyst is convention. For us, when we're talking to laboratories, I do a lot of, just not consulting for money, but obviously, I spend a lot of time with dental laboratories on sharing this passion and this belief that, hey, you were designed to be different. And I think what happens is the status quo, we're conditioned from a very young age. The moment we understand that we're different, we become insecure. And that's the devil's lie.
And then it can block your development, right?
Absolutely. Well, what happens is you just want to fit in. All of us, when we were kids, just wanted to fit in.
Correct.
Right. And so, to me, the status quo is actually a fear group, not a peer group.
Yeah.
Man, I'm getting all sorts of great quotes. I can't keep up with you. It's a fear group, not a peer group. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the reason why I believe that is because your competition will only exist where your value does not. And value has to be created. Value is about innovation. And to me, it's about behavioral innovation more so than it is about product innovation.
Wow.
Right? Because none of us can innovate a crown.
No. Mm-mm.
So the only thing we can innovate is our behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And when you behave in such a way that makes your practice or laboratory as unique as you are, you have just created an impression, and your customer has taken a piece of that, a piece of you with them, because they want to refer to that feeling
Yes.
at a later time. That is the definition of building a brand.
Refer to the feeling. I picked that up. That's a moment of clarity right here. Because let me ask you this. Okay, you understand dentist well, right? How have you gotten to this point in life? If you don't mind sharing, just, what was your entry like in your childhood, and how have you developed to this perspective, which I think is profound, because I'm feeding off of this. I'm hearing, I'm taking notes. In fact, everyone get your pens out, rerun, share this webcast. You've got to hear this, of behavior innovation. I mean, that is brilliant, because I know if there's anything that's held me up in my life, it's more about what I'm thinking and what it does to my behavior, and then other people read that, right? And it affects how you're perceived. How have you gotten to this place in life?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that probably my greatest insight came, 2 years into the business.
Mm-hmm.
I had started my business in a 2-car garage. I had just moved to kind of a small office, small warehouse setting where I had outgrown the garage in year one. And I was engaged to be married. And because I had invested everything in the business and I was really just turning, kind of enough, I think I was taking home maybe $4 or $5 grand a month or something like that. I knew that I had to grow the business, and I was running out of ideas. And one night I was actually, in order to save money, I was actually living in my warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
I had created some shelves and put some empty brown boxes on them.
Mm.
I was taking my showers at 24-Hour Fitness, and it was probably like 4 a.m. I was sitting in my boxers at my desk, and I was just discouraged. I was really discouraged. And I just remember thinking to myself, I'm at $5,000 a month now. How do I get to $6,000 a month? And I started kind of calculating my average product price and, what my average invoice price was, and how many kind of new customers based on the consumption of the products that were being purchased. How many customers would I need to acquire to net me an additional $1,000 take home a month? And my calculation came back at 300, because my average product price was under $20.
Mm-hmm.
My heart sank. And it was probably the darkest moment I had as an entrepreneur. It was worse than anything COVID could have done to me, to be honest with you. Far worse. It was my darkest moment. And I actually I got emotional, and I actually just kind of got like teary, and I just thought, God, what did I do?
Yeah.
Like, what did I do? Like, did I get into the wrong thing? Did I invest my money in the wrong thing? I'm getting married in 6 months. I don't have a pot to piss in. What am I going to do? And I prayed. I just started praying because that's all I could do. I was so low. All I could do was look up. So I prayed to Jesus. And as I was praying, I just kind of like grabbed a white piece of paper out of the printer that was to my right. It was one of those old HP, printers, desk jets. I put it down, and all of a sudden I just wrote this question. If Harvest Dental was gone today, what would the market miss about me tomorrow? And that was the insight.
Wow.
It was that in order for me to be sticky, I knew it wasn't going to be my products. I knew it wasn't going to be my price. What I understood in that moment is that emotional decisions make no room for alternatives. And the only way to make that type of connection was behavior.
Man, I am
Wow.
I am blessed. I don't know where to
I'm digging deep with you right now because I'm totally resonating with that.
Yeah. We all get so hung up in the visual or whatever's happening in front of us, the products, the ideas, the colors, the logos, whatever. And really the message I think you're giving to me personally is that I need to be more focused on the people. That's what it's all about. And I think we all do a very good job in our practices and our families and everything, but it never hurts to hear it from another human that has faith. And so I very much appreciate what you just said.
When that happened, and now that you reflect back on that, how has that changed the way you're thinking about things? Because I know we all develop through behavioral thinking patterns of the past, and then we have to often overcome some patterns that get us out of order. Was that a gradual thing for you, or have you always been more in that type of path of thinking?
Well, I think knowledge is always gradual.
Yeah.
Right? And growth in boldness is always gradual. And so in order to execute and in order to actually manifest something, both have to be aligned.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have radical ideas, but don't have the confidence to move forward.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I think that my knowledge grew faster than my boldness.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, so there was a moment though, where my boldness actually caught up to my knowledge. And then my confidence actually, I think, became now a vacuum for knowledge. So now I was actively searching for knowledge to apply. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess the way that the real insight for me was I'm not curious enough. I'm not asking enough questions. And what I mean by that is why do we always talk about brunch but never dinner?
I had to process that one for a second.
Yeah, I got it.
It's like, I don't know what he just said, but I got it.
More grounded, because I realized that might have gone over everybody's head. I'm just trying to kind of speak through what I'm feeling. But in other words, asking those types of questions, because that's the only way you can uncover a convention. And so a convention basically would be described as when a patient walks in through your door. Why couldn't there be ... It's an understanding and a revelation that actually outside of God's moral law written on our hearts, there are no rules.
Amen.
There are no rules. There are no rules
That's right.
on value invention. And so a simple thing is, like I've been to a restaurant where instead of just waiting for a table, you've got somebody walking around giving you like sampling wine tasting.
Yeah.
Like it's knowing that you're not marketing to the mass, you're marketing to the edges.
Yes.
Right? You're marketing to the lowest, the smallest viable audience that recognizes the value that you provide outside of what you do for a living.
Awesome.
Right? And that's how you grow, because growth is built on loyalty. And so what happens a lot of times is that we grow, we get customers, but we're also churning customers. And so as I was growing 30% a year, 40% a year, later on, maybe 28% a year, but the girth, the volume, the numbers were compounding. I realized that actually I wasn't losing customers. And so what I would do in the early days, and I think this is an applicable strategy now because of what's happening and because this is really the great reset. And so this is the opportunity to rethink everything about your practice, everything, not just workflows, but even more so, every area where your practice touches the customer, every touch point should be an experience that is different from the practice down the street.
Yes.
Right. You say that so well. I go back in my career a few years back, and I know Bill Blatchford asked me this question, and it changed me in the way I think. He goes, if you didn't have to work tomorrow for a living, what would you do? Which is kind of what you're saying now. And I gave him what I would do, and he goes, why aren't you doing it now? Which is like going beyond your comfort zone, going into the edges and making a good thought process and letting yourself catch up with that. And I think my growth through the years has always been critical thinking and heart thinking, right? And you don't want the fear of your heart to hold back what you need to be doing. And that's what I hear you saying is, in other words, you have to get out of the box. You can't let your fear factor dictate your choice making, because with that, you're just going to follow the crowd. And you won't get different results. And that's kind of what I'm hearing you say. My next question is, how did you make your heart catch up with your mind?
Well, I think first it's understanding that failure is an essential part of the game. In other words, failure and speed are connected, right? And if you think about the fact that, number one, time is our greatest asset, right? That's actually what we trade. We trade time. So, opportunity cost becomes a real dynamic to all of this as well, right? I'm trying to articulate this and not confuse you, because my mind's kind of going. I'm trying to put all these like puzzles.
You're doing great, man.
I'm feeling you, my friend. I'm feeling you.
You're getting a lot of love. I got to tell you, I'll stop. You got like Frankie is just like having a conniption fit that he's watching you right now. I can see his joy coming through. So, and a lot of good comments. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you are loved in this industry, man. You know that, right? I know you don't care about it, but you are. You really are.
Look, I'm a relational guy. And so, don't we all want love?
Yeah.
Isn't that all we want, right? I mean, we just want to be loved, and we want to love because it's all reciprocal and it's all connected. But,
it's how we're designed with our Heavenly Father. Yeah.
It's how we are designed.
Yes.
It is how we're done. And so value is connected to that. And so when you so harvest comes from the scripture, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few.
Yep.
And so we become a worker, right? And so now that changes how I define value.
Yeah.
Because if value now is about love and not quality, right? Quality is a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It is a feeling because everybody's product works. It wouldn't be on the market if it didn't work.
Right.
So I'm going off on a tangent here, but let me just say this real quick. I mean, I can't tell you that my products are the best, and I won't, because only you can tell me that, right? Quality is a feeling. Going back to your question, I think that, in order for people, or for me, let me just speak about myself, right? So part of that, like, change in trajectory was understanding that failure is part of the process. In other words, it's a catalyst to growth, not an hindrance to growth. Fail fast, fix fast, learn fast. And so we try all kinds of crazy shit that doesn't necessarily maybe produce the feeling that was in our vision. But we just repackage the attribute and try something else.
Yeah.
But attributes are treated as products.
Oh, I see.
They're treated as products.
Yeah.
And so ultimately it comes down to two words:
Give 'em
surprise and delight. If you can surprise and delight your patients, you will own that space in their mind called dentist. There will be no room for an alternative, because you become a relationship the customer can't afford to lose, right? Like, even like my ear pods, right? Like, I bought the Apple brand.
Right.
There was no alternative for me. Don't ask me why. I don't know. But I wasn't going to buy the one that costs $40 that's probably the same, in the same box, in the same package. It's there. And so I think there has to be a shift into understanding what competition really is. And I just want to finish this thought because I'm going somewhere now.
You're going good, man.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So the way that I view competition, right, is it's introspective. Number one, it starts with me. And it starts with understanding, because you can't be great at everything. We're people, right? And so you can we're always going to be not as good at most things. So companies that win in the marketplace, practices that win in the marketplace, they know the difference between what they need to be good enough at and what they compete on. And what they compete on is going to be touch point innovation. That's it.
That's it.
Simple. It's simple. What if every time somebody walked in your door, when you said bye to them, you gave them 5 lottery tickets? That's $5.
Yeah.
Of an investment. That just the intention, again, the generosity, the most attractive human attribute, doing something you didn't have to do, and doing something that cost you something. You've just flexed that attribute. That just you become a practice that they not know of.
That reminds me of a quote, and I'm trying to think of which movie it was in: an unexpected gift at the unexpected time. Surprise and delight. Yep.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
How in the world are you not on like some lecture circuit, like motivating all sorts of people? Man, you can do it. You got it. Have you ever thought about writing a book?
I'm actually writing a book right now.
Oh, are you? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So I'm I'm basically writing a book on culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's basically how to, and I don't know what the title is yet, but the thesis is this is there's never been a greater time to reset your culture. And really, at the end of the day, culture is knowing your why so that you can say no to everything else. And And I believe that there are incredible opportunities, right? Just answering this question, if I could start my practice, knowing what I know now, what would it look like? And so what I'm doing is I'm writing a book around the pillars of culture.
Mm-hmm.
And my hope, and I'm going to give it away. I'm not going to charge for it. I'm going to give it away, probably as an ebook or something. But it will be, focused, to dental laboratories, in helping them understand that energy, culture is about energy, right? It's about clarity.
Mm-hmm.
It's about clarity around mission and energy towards the vision. And we never, ever reach our vision, right? Because we're constantly casting. But the insight for me is that, don't be deceived, that, if a vision there's no such thing as a big or small vision, only a clear vision, right? Mm-hmm. Because, a vision can't be sized, it can only be seized. And so literally teaching people how to visioneer, breaking it down for them, helping them understand, how do you develop a mission statement? If you're going to develop a mission statement, you have to gather consumer insights, and you have to know pain points, or else why do you exist? What is your reason for being? If your reason for being is not to bring peace to an area that is chaotic, you won't be valued.
Yep. Todd, I feel like
I'm speechless. You're the first one that's made me speechless.
This is a divine message for the time that we're living in, because I think everybody, with this shutdown of the economy, they're going through that questioning again. Like, what am I worth? What am I going to do in the future? We're wanting to latch on to what made us successful to now. And yet, I know Brian Tracy said years ago, the businesses that succeed are the ones that can pivot in an ever-changing environment, knowing what your goals are, knowing who you are, knowing your why, and then be willing to live on the edges. And that's the message that I hear coming from you today. And I feel like you have been divinely sent to our program, and I want to thank you about that. And Todd, I want to do this again, particularly when your book comes out. We need to get this message out to others, because this is what we need right now.
Yeah, you definitely need to be on our show again. Are you going to say yes? Say yes.
Oh, are you kidding me? Anytime. Anytime.
Well, just for the last few minutes that we've got here, you work directly with the dental lab industry, and they're kind of down the river from a dentist, and all the focus seems to be like, well, dentist, we're getting our loans and stuff like that, but they've got to be hurting exponentially compared to us. And so what is the mission that you can give them? What is a vision of hope for when we're coming out of this fog?
Yeah, I think, two things. I think for their organizations, particularly for their teams, they definitely need to provide clarity and energy to their teams. I think that, keeping the negative things out of the conversation, being very careful with how they run their meetings. This is where leadership becomes leadership, right? When you really have to generate movement. There's no movement. So a lot of times I think we can sit in a current, right? And we just, like, we're all getting orders, we're all getting patients, we're all getting doctors, we're just kind of like flowing, and you're kind of just, but now we're all at a stop. I mean, I think we did $1,000 in business this month. So all of us are we're all in the same boat, right? And again, I don't think there's ever been a more unprecedented time. This is a once in a century occurrence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Something like this is the ultimate catalyst for creativity, because necessity is the mother of invention. And so be bold in inventing value, because ultimately the race to the bottom is going to be faster.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I really believe the race to the bottom is a territory. I don't think it is a definition of an industry. Every industry has a mass market. What laboratories have to understand and what dentists have to understand is who is your most viable audience and how are you going to build a tribe? Because ultimately, I think those that are going to win coming out of this are going to be focused on doing their very best work. They're going to be very clear about who they are and why they exist. And they're going to focus on being remarkable because that will then ensure that they're remarked about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to focus on being remarkable. That's my take-home message. Matt, you are a blessing. I could listen to you speak for like 2 more minutes, and then we got to be done. No, I'm just kidding. No, you've been fantastic. And
hey, Todd, have you noticed that over the last 3 weeks, as we've evolved just with getting to know people better? Mm-hmm. That there are messages that are coming through that are so poignant for our time. You know, I think of last night, I got a few pearls. Today, it was more like church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
Because there's this heart mind that we have to deal with. And quite often the heart in hard times is what pulls us back. And
right.
I heard a really good narrative on how to process that. And dentists as a whole, maybe I should just speak for myself, right? But dentists as a whole can be hard on themselves. And, you know, we deal with microscopic things that we can't see. Our success is based off of the microscopic field that we're working in a macroscopic way. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I always ask this question in my lecture. If you saw an x-ray with a bad margin and you had placed that restoration a year ago, would you think about it that night? And every hand goes up. So, Sasha, that's who you're dealing with here. Mm-hmm. So we have this paradigm that often we will transfer over to our business model, and I think it actually gets in the way. Mm. And I've seen this in myself. I've really worked hard to try to grow through that and grow beyond that and think on the edges. And you put a perspective in front of me today that has really been helpful because it talks about setting your mind up. And my dad always said, the way you think, eventually your heart will follow. And that's what I heard you say today.
Yeah. On that note, you know, Dennis, and you know this because you got to deal with us. We're a unique. What was the word you said?
Yeah.
Tribe. But we're a unique
yeah.
tribe in our own right, and we have a hard time as a whole. It's not just the two you're looking at right now. We have a hard time in a whole is thinking outside the box. We are people that were hammered in dental school to do it one way, the only way, and this
conformed.
Is conformed, exactly. Yeah. And so we tend to be in that status quo part. I mean, you can look at anything on practice management consultants or whatever. They're teaching us the same things, doing the same things. So it's
over and over again.
Over and over and over again. And, you know, with what you're saying today is actually inspiring because, you know, there's probably somebody listening out there that's got a great idea. They know they should be doing this, but something's holding them back. And maybe you pushed them over the edge a little bit to get them to try.
Yeah. You made me think.
Love to fail. Really love to fail, because if you can love to fail, you will progress. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I know it doesn't sound right, but it's the truth.
Amen.
Well, I think of that Jordan, the basketball player, Michael Jordan. He says, I have missed more shots than I've made. Therefore, my failing is what improved my game. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but it was his attitude. And it seems that I've always been a study of people, and I read all the time about people who are successful, and they all say that part of their ingredients to move forward and bless others in life has been their failures and how they process that. And I think your message was a very positive way of getting through that today. And I'm going to watch this cast several times. I want Todd, Sasha to know, and I'm going to be taking notes. In fact, could I write a book and just have you sign it as yours? Because I think you wrote a book on our cast today.
Yes, you did.
And I think if these points can be expanded and delivered to a heart in a way where it can create transformation, that's what we're all looking for. So
God inspired you to inspire others, my friend. So I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Well, and we appreciate the time. And Sasha, we're going to have you back on. You're going to do it, yes? Say yes.
I'm going to do it.
Well, yes. I am a fan of your products, but I'm a bigger fan of you.
That's right.
That is the most important thing to me. Thank you.
And you definitely got that through today. So thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
Wow, James, man, I've got, we've had great guests, but that was awesome. That was great.
Remember, we were talking about a few things this morning, right?
Yeah.
There was the answer.
Yes, he had plenty of answers today. Yes, you are right. Very good. Well, we will definitely have him on again in the future because he had too much to say. We need to give him more opportunity. So I know you're feeling inspired with all this. We've got a full week. I've got the entire week scheduled. I'll put our schedule out here shortly. But we have Dr. Lane Ochi tomorrow. He's down in LA and an amazing clinician. Just absolutely
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and great educator. He's got a great following. So I think I need to turn this off and let's go watch it again because I want to be a good participant of this.
That's where I'm going this afternoon. I'm going to take notes.
Yep. All right. Thanks to everybody watching today, and we'll see you tomorrow evening.
Be safe.